Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Hoffman of enlighteninglife.com, and I'm going to share a little story with you about facing your fear. And actually what I'm going to tell you is how I faced my fear by punching a guy in a gorilla suit in the face. So that's the end of the story. Let's start with the beginning of the story. So when I was about 17, I went to visit one of those Halloween spook houses with some friends. And it was my first time in one of those places. It was my only time. I've never been to another one since. And this one was built in a 3 or 4 story old abandoned warehouse. So they had different levels, and you walk along these dark corridors and people touch you and you put your hands in stuff that feels like blood and brains and eyeballs and things like that. And by about halfway through, I had enough. I just wanted to get out of there and go home. So I was walking kind of fast, and at some point you literally were walking along this little path, and then all of a sudden you fell down this slide, and the slide was like 3 stories, and it went around and it took you all the way down to the bottom. It would never happen today, but that's what happened. So I go down the slide, go to the bottom, and I look around, and I am in this room, and the room is completely mirrored. There, I can't see the door, which is actually one of my freak out things. I always need to know where the door is wherever I am. And the mirrors are all around the walls and the ceiling, so all you can see is this massive, series of reflections. So the mirrors are reflected in each other, and then you're standing there, and then all you can see is reflections of yourself. And again, I can't find the door. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy in a big gorilla suit comes out into the room, and he starts chasing me around the room. Now, I want to go home. I'm tired of all this. I'm tired of being scared. I can't find the door. I see all these mirrors, and I am so freaked out, and I got so scared that I turned around and I punched the guy in the gorilla suit as hard as I could, which kind of shook back a little bit, and he looked at me, and then he touches a button and the door opens. So I get out and I'm outside and I'm done. I never went to one of those things again. So what happens when we have fear, we get really afraid, is we react. So the thing that makes you afraid, you react to. I've got to get out of here. I can't handle this. I can't take this. I just want to go home. I just want this to be over. Please just let me know when it's over and I can get back to normal. And this is where sometimes we find ourselves, especially when we're, in times like this where we're in the midst of all these changes and all these things are happening, and life can get very overwhelming. So what do? You turn around and you punch the guy in the gorilla suit in the face, or you think the fear is the problem, when the fear isn't the problem. The issue is, what's the next step? So what does it take to get you out of there? How do you face the fear? In my case, the gorilla was the key to getting the door open. I don't know how the door was going to open, because like I said, there was no door and you couldn't see it because of everything was mirrored. Even the panel that had the door on it was mirrored. So how do you handle situations like this? And it may not be you're in one of those Halloween spook houses and you're being chased around a mirrored room by a guy in a gorilla suit. For you, it may be you don't have any money, or you've just lost your job, or you have some other life crisis that you're facing, and it really is challenging, and I've been through enough of those in my life that I know how difficult that is. But what do? Well, the first thing is you have to stop and look at what's happening. So you have to face the fear. But I don't mean face the fear as like get into the fear. I mean, you have to literally turn around and look at the fear and go, okay, what do you look like? Where have I seen you before? What's going on here? What's the next step for me? What do I need to do to get out of this situation? In my case, I needed to punch the guy in the gorilla suit, who, I guess that was a secret, getting the door open, but there were a lot of people at that spook house. If he got punched by everybody, he was going to be one sore guy at the end of the night. But that also is kind of a metaphor for, okay, how do you turn around and look at the fear and realize, okay, it's a guy in a gorilla suit. It's not the monster that I think it is. It's something that I need to face. And a lot of what I'm seeing with these life situations is they're very much oriented towards, what's your lesson? What do you need to stand up to? What do you need to learn to overcome, to rise above, to raise your vibe, to move into that higher frequency? And how do you do that? Because you can't do it when you're scared. You have to do it when you can be detached enough and removed enough from the fear, where you can look at it and say, okay, this is the fear. How do I get beyond it? So what do I have to do to move even one step beyond it? And it requires courage. But what's courage? Courage is not the absence of fear. You don't have courage, and this is one of my most famous sayings, courage is not the absence of fear, it's the presence of heart. The word courage is from the French word cœur, which means heart. So you have courage not when you have no fear, but when you're in that place where you can look at something and say, I have the heart to get over this. I believe in myself. I honor my path. I want to get over this. I deserve better. I deserve more. I deserve to not have this in my life anymore. So getting out of that spook house for me was as simple as turning around and punching the guy in the face. And he was a big guy, and I'm I'm 5'5". He was probably 6'3" or 6'4". I mean, he was a really big guy, so I had to reach up kind of high to punch him. But I was so afraid, and I wanted to get out of that room so badly that I didn't care if he was the key. He was running around chasing me. Then I was going to do what I had to get out of that room. Now, I'm not someone who would normally go about and punch somebody in the face unless I'm, pushed to a certain level. But you can probably relate that to something in your life where you're so scared, you're so upset, you're so unhappy, you are so, so frightened. But here's the key, you are so tired of being in that situation because maybe it's the 10th time, or maybe it's the 20th time, or maybe that's that last time that's like, okay, I'm done with this, finished, I'm not doing this anymore. That's where you need to get. So learn what your limits are, but also find that courage that says, I love myself enough, and I am self-aware, and I am self-determined enough that I am going to get through this. So I'm empowered. Now that I've faced the fear, I'm empowered. I'm going to step one step beyond the fear. And what does that look like? And if you want more help with that, let me know, because I have a number of different options for you. And also coming up is the intuition course, which is one of my favorites, and certainly a favorite with my students. So it's Jennifer Hoffman. I am here to help empower you into your highest frequency and potential. I look forward to working with you. And please visit me at the website enlighteninglife.com. Thanks for watching.